Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to all my new followers. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about whether or not gear matters. And there's plenty of videos about it, but of course, I wanted to give you guys my 2 cents. Does gear matter? And I have to preface this by saying that I'm strictly talking about, for personal work. I'm not talking about professionals. That's a different category on its own. I'm really just simply talking about for personal work. You're the quote-unquote hobbyist or the enthusiast. You're doing it at home. Does gear matter? Now, the short answer is yes and no. Gear matters to the point which is the most contributing factor. It matters whether or not you're inspired to pick up that camera to take the photos that are important to you. Whatever it is, if you like taking photos of flowers, if you like documenting your life, or you like to take photos of cars, or whatever it is, nobody can say that what you like to take photos of is wrong, but whatever that is, does gear matter? Yes, you do need a camera that inspires you. Let me turn the other way here. My Konica 3A is absolutely a camera that inspires me to pick it up on a daily basis to sort of document my life, or to be out there on the streets taking, mostly portraits of people, stuff like that, candid shots of people. I absolutely, love this camera for that. And so it's also a high quality camera, so I am not annoyed whatsoever by the results when they come out. So in that respect, gear does matter. Gear also matters because if you have a crappy lens that doesn't give you the results that you want, or there's too much flare on the lens, or some little characteristic that you're annoyed by, you are going to have to invest in gear that pleases you in that aspect. It doesn't have to be the most expensive gear. It doesn't even have to be new gear. You can buy something used, second hand. That doesn't matter. But in that respect, yes, if you don't have the correct, lens on your camera, you're going to be annoyed, and that's going to take away from the creative process. Can I do the same that I'm doing with, can I do the same with my N2000 that I'm doing with my Konica 3A? Absolutely. I can do the exact same thing, and although it's a different platform, it's not a rangefinder, it's going to require a different approach slightly, but I can do the exact same thing with that N2000. Now the N2000 is getting ready to be sold because I think, in the Konica 3A, I have found my camera that I can use for the rest of my life, give or take, a few CLAs, but that I can use for the rest of my life to do the things that I want to do. Now, gear matters in terms of, let's say that, your main camera, your daily driver, it shuts down, then you definitely need some backup camera. Now, gear doesn't matter in terms of, especially in the digital world, as soon as you buy a camera, it's already obsolete because, now there's a new model with, 2 extra pixels, and it can autofocus. If you noticed, the Nikon Z9 came out. I've watched 3, which is a digital camera. I've watched 3 reviews of it, and not one review mentioned image quality. It was all about the autofocus, the camera not having a mechanical shutter, and how fast is it, can it track, blah, blah, blah. Not one time in those 3 reviews, image quality was mentioned. And in terms of the digital world, I'm still okay with my D700 for what I need and what I shoot, mostly portraiture. The D700 is still more than capable. In the digital world, you have to upgrade as soon as you've bought your camera, and I don't play that game. So Gear doesn't matter in terms of that, oh hey, I have to stay with the latest trends and the latest here and the latest there. And I'm sure at some point the NEF file of my D700 will no longer be accepted, forcing all of us to upgrade. But you know what I mean. And in that respect, you don't have to have the latest of the newest, not even in digital. But in film, yeah, gear matters. Everybody who says that gear completely doesn't matter, and those are always the guys that have a lot of gear themselves, that's not true. You have to be inspired by that camera in order to pick it up, in order for you to shoot, and all that kind of stuff. Gear also matters that there's a sort of a minimum, at least for me, a minimum baseline of quality. I don't want to have a camera that I'm constantly worried, is it going to break down? It's 30 years old. How are the electronics going to do this, and all of that? So in that respect, gear definitely does matter. Also, let's say that you're a landscape photographer. Of course, you're going to want to have certain lenses, maybe more wide angle, or even a zoom that's, goes from maybe, 15 to 30 or whatever. So in that respect, gear definitely does matter. You have to figure out what it is that you need, not want, what it is that you need in terms, in order to take the photography that you want to take and go from there. If you're, the term GAS, gear acquisition syndrome, if you fall prey to that, it's just going to take away from your craft. If you're a collector, who cares? Collect as many cameras as you want to and be happy at the end of the day. But gear, it doesn't matter in terms of you need the latest and the greatest. And I'm now restricting myself to film photography, but gear definitely matters in terms of, hey, I want to be able to pick up that camera. This camera inspires me to take the photos that I want to take. I feel comfortable with this camera. I don't feel like an attraction when I'm out on the streets with this camera. I feel normal. People don't look at me weird. All that kind of stuff you have to take into consideration. What is it that you shoot, and what is it that I then need in order to take those photos? And yes, this notion that I just presented you with is heavily restricted to the end result. Some people are all process. It's all process. I want to have a fun time with this camera when I'm out there, and I want to have this, again, Leica M6, so I look good out on the streets and all that kind of stuff. Other people are just completely result related. And then there are people that, I guess that are most of us, we're somewhere in the middle. We're process oriented, and we're also oriented towards the end results. And that's where my, Konica 3A is just so wonderful. You get fantastic results, and it's a camera that I just want to pick up because the results are so stellar. I know that I'm going to get at least, honestly, this lens makes any film look good. But I'm, inspired by this. I could easily, set some money aside, and 3 or 4 months later I can buy an M6, but I don't think I need that. Now, since I do have an YouTube channel, and you have to be careful because a lot of times when you see reviews or videos, on Does Gear Matter, the line between professional and, doing it for yourself is a little blurry. And so if you have a YouTube channel, at some point you're going to have to review a film. And that's where, let me go grab it. That's where my F100 comes in really handy. Hope I'm still sharp here. Let's make sure that I am sharp here, guys, on the camera. Yay, we're sharp again. That's how it works on YouTube, guys. You're constantly worried, like, is it sharp? Is there a little piece of lint? Is that not perfect? Is this and that here perfect? But anyway, the F100, I can't seem to part ways with it. I was looking at an F4, but this is such a capable test bed. to test films on. It goes up to 1/8000th of a second, so in that respect it is more of a professional application, so I need this camera. But if I didn't have a YouTube channel, set that up. If I didn't have a YouTube channel, I could easily, for personal work, get away with the Konica. And so be careful that if you look at certain videos, that line between personal work and professional work is clearly, there's a clear outline there. There's a clear division, because often that blurs into each other a little bit, because especially if you have a YouTube channel, or maybe, there's a guy who takes photos, and if you sell them, it's professional, right? You're trying to make money off of that. So make sure that we're looking at just, personal work and not professional work. But for personal work, I could easily get away with the Konica 3A. It's all that I need. I can shoot with a 50. I could take it to, to Europe, which I'm planning on doing hopefully next year to visit my family. I could easily get away with that camera. There are, to me, no limitations, because most of the films that I shoot are lower ISO anyway. But gear matters to the point that you do have to be inspired by that daily driver camera. Guys, this is my 2 cents. I hope you learned something from it. Shoot me in a comment. I'd love to know how you think about it. Do you have a daily driver? Or maybe you're the type person who likes to switch around with cameras, because, it is fun shooting different cameras, let's be honest. Sometimes, I get a little bit, not bored, but, oh, hey, let me put a roll through the F100, and it switches it out, and then pretty soon I realize, the Konica 3A is all I need. But let me know, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Love you, and I'll see you in the next one.